playground experience. I'm your new host. This is Divine Sunshine. I got my co-host here, Kathy D, and April Williams. Yay!
Aloha. Okay,
So as
here we go.
we are going to start off with the energies. Ooh, stop. Now we do that. Okay, so we're going to start with the energies and what's going on with this week. So this week for me, I would say is more empowering, more of coming into belief of self, of a knowing, and really saying I'm tired of my own crap and I'm just not going to take it anymore. So because it had gotten to the point that I had a situation at work, and I was talking to Kathy D about it, that I was like, you know what, I got to go at this in a whole different way. And I'm going to surrender. And I said that pretty much on the other thing where I said I was going to surrender and just kind of like let it go because I don't have an answer. I don't know how to will it to be so. I don't know how to Aries it way through. Like we have the new, the full moon, the new moon that's in Aries, and so I can't power my way through this, and so I found myself doing a lot of surrender, and I think things manifested that way instead of me putting my willpower to it, and it kind of it helped me to even through the challenges that I had for me to really truly start to believe more in myself or what my talent, skills, and abilities is like. They've been saying, I've been showing you this all along, but you didn't believe it. I think I've been more in line and more in line with source too as well. Like really believing, going back to it, like, yes, I can do this. Some kind of way, I think through experiences and thoughts and things happening, I kind of lost that connection, that belief that, hey, if I manifest this to happen, it usually does it. It goes the opposite way. I had a breakthrough happen with me, and I found myself to get more in line with seeing source saying, yeah, I've been with you all along. It's you the one that starts saying I wasn't going to pull through for you. I never said that. I've been doing my end. But if you keep on not believing, you're going to full stop. It said, in the sentence, you put a period there where I want to put a comma, but you putting a period there to say that's it. Is this not going to happen? So we've been working a little bit more on in my energies of this belief of manifesting and aligning with the things that I want to happen. I've also seen that I got to kind of watch my thought process too, as well, because a lot of things, even the good, the bad, and the ugly, is getting manifested. So I've got to really kind of hone in on that. And I came to a revelation that said that my mind is the karmic because it is causing a lot of stuff and a lot of lessons that really don't need to be happening. That came to me on my morning drive, and I was like, I should get on. I'm like, no, let me keep that to myself. And it's like you need to kind of you see when you let it go, how things actually flow, and that's you that's stopping that. That ain't nobody else. So and that's where I am right now. It's just like really trying to stop these patterns that I have been putting forth out there that has really have stopped me from really being in flow. So that's what I've been dealing with. But overall, the energies. Well, this is my energies. Aries, hey, we vibe real well. So what there is, I'm using that in, but I'm also noticing myself to kind of like I say, hey, take it down. Don't overpower. Don't let it get the best of you. Work on watch the shadow side of how Aries can be too as well. So that is that's what it is for me for my energy. So I'm gonna pass the mic on to either one of the ladies for you all to take about how's the energies for you.
Can I just keep passing back? I don't want to. Nope. No. Or we can be like Hawaii drivers because some of the streets are thin, right? Or like narrow. So they have to let one go at a time. And it's always, oh, you go first. Oh, you go first. Oh, and then the 15 people behind you are like, well, just somebody go. I think that's what you're saying is definitely, it's not an understatement what you said. You said it pretty honest in terms of the flow of what consciousness has brought to us, right? A lot of patterns are having to be forcefully broken. There's a lot of trust issues with the universe, and having to feel like we need to make something happen. And it's like when you're not pushing and you're in flow, like Kathy D's story is going to be great. That's why I'm going to have her go after me, right? 'Cause she's got a little bit more of the flow happening. And I could see our resistance to the flow by how much her breaking up and her internet, you know, this woman and the internet. I don't know. I think that just aliens are coming to Florida first. Clearly, they have blocked the waves. But you know what you're unconsciously or consciously stepping away from. So it's like saying, I have this fear, right? I'm going to say, or this concern, this element that makes me uncomfortable. In order to avoid that, I'm going to do everything and look around it and try to like dodge it, but it just makes it bigger and bigger and bigger because we're building into that alchemy of this chaos theory, this chaos energy. And that's kind of what everything is picking up in terms of clearing out. I can feel energetically the peaceful part of it and the whole getting what we actually desire and the fulfillment. You know, I can feel that part. And traveling and bridging the gap between that vibration that I know is within me and the vibration I'm in right now, everything that's squeezing out in between, I can either look at it as chaos or clearing, right? So let's say I attract the thing that makes me uncomfortable, or I have to look at the thing that makes me uncomfortable. I get to keep rephrasing and restructure my relationship with it so that it no longer affects me because it's clearly steering. It's steering its ship by omission, kind of thing. So I guess how can I make this a little bit more tangible? Okay. I am so concerned about um I'm just trying to think of a good example. Give me a second. Okay, my kid, right? My kid is really super fun and peaceful and he's just super sweet little boy. But then my concern is like, okay, I'm gonna do the show. I've got to make sure everything's good for him. He's got to have all the stuff, you know, just because, you know, I care for him like 24/7, 365. So if he's content, then he'll be cool. Now he's cool all day long up until I do the show. And this is 1 day a week now, people, okay? For like maybe an hour 10. And so what I've been finding is if I don't go into that flow, it attracts more chaos. And I'm doing my best to avoid it, that it brings it right in, right? Versus, oh, you're cool, whatever, I can get up if you need it, whatever. And like this whole time, nothing, maybe he's a little bit excited, jumping around, but he's not like disrupting the show. He's not like, you know, how sometimes I gotta straight carry him because he's having a full fallout. Like, no, the timing, the structure, everything's in flow and harmony because I'm not putting the pressure on it. So where do you feel like you're having the pressure? Where are you feeling the anxiety or the things you want to change? It's not so much about avoiding that or trying to step so hard around it. It's going through the process, letting it out, I like to call it alchemizing, right? You let it come in and you say, okay, what is this? All right, I accept it as it is, like she was saying earlier. I accept this situation or this process as it is now. Let me let in the next stage. And it actually allows for progression versus, you know, hitting everything on the stairs, like trying to be quiet in the kitchen at night. And then you knock down everything and everyone knows exactly about your midnight snack habits. So how about your week? How was your week, Miss D?
It has been interesting. I've had a little bit of kind of both of what both of you are going through. I've had I had my session with Sean. So if you joined us for the 10/10 event and the coaching, I took advantage of that with Sean, and I had that. And it's very funny that Divine Sunshine would say, you know, that she kind of heard that she's kind of her own kind of karmic because that was something that Sean and I had kind of come up with myself. That now it's gotten to the point of the karmic cycles that I need to break in myself, where I am putting that energy out. I'm putting the fear of the ex out there. I'm putting the resistance from the children out there, because that's the way it's been. It's always been like that. So, I'm having to change those things. And but then
Uh-oh.
is, whoop, did I freeze? Hello?
You froze for a second.
Okay. Well, I'm changing things for myself as well. And I'd read an article talking about that we needed to change our morning routine to reflect the life we want. And now I'll be honest with you, two kids, one has to be to school by 7:10, the other one 7:45, so I'm up and I hit the road running pretty early. And so, like, self-care, self-love, that kind of stuff, it was brushing my teeth and washing my hair. That was the extent of it. And maybe chugging down a cup of coffee as I run through the house, making sure everyone has homework and stuff. So I set my alarm earlier, and I got up, and I had read about a Reiki master that spends time with their cup and the telepathy with the divine masculine. All right. Am I back? Am I go? Am I frozen?
Ava look frozen.
No,
Okay.
I'm not frozen now. I'm
Okay. Now you're not. Okay. All right. I'm back. I'm going on mute.
Well, we'll try this again. And but so do the telepathy with the twin, and then doing yoga, and I've been doing yoga to open my chakras, because we have more
chakras than the 7, and there's more coming online. I'm just kind of trying to help paraphrase.
These are fun.
That's one of the issues here. This daggone electronics has been.
Yeah, the shadow of Mercury retrograde this time has been worse than itself.
Yes. Oh my God. I like, even at the school, I'm trying to go on my bank, see what it is. It has shut me out. I'm like, I know darn well this is my password. What the heck is this? So much stuff, electronic stuff. But go on, what you were saying. Oh my God.
She can't. She can't. She's frozen again.
She's frozen.
There you go.
Okay.
But at least she's frozen in a smile.
Right.
But so it's so doing.
I rebuke you in the name of the source. This is enough.
Internet
troll, son of a sprite, whatever.
Is this going to be the future of all energetics? Because they're not getting any less; they're getting stronger.
Right.
And so you either let yourself. It's like surrender control at the same time, right? You've gotta learn yourself enough to know what. Man, she's just in that fixed way.
Anchor that. Anchor it into the earth. Draw it.
So when you know what your weaknesses are, you have the ability to do a couple of things. You can deny them, which doesn't get you anywhere, or you can accept them. Now, part of accepting means accepting your responsibility and changing.
Right.
You can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect different results. You actually need to make an effort to change. And the universe does acknowledge that effort, right? And it does also acknowledge you when you decide to not be in flow. And it knows your ultimate desires. So don't deny yourself those desires. Sometimes it can feel embarrassing, or it can feel kind of awkward, When you're doing something that you've always wanted to do, or something that you could do, I don't know, it's getting out of your normal routine, right?
Hold on a minute.
And sometimes that means, or most of the time, especially when you're working with the inner child.
Clean the lens. Yeah. Okay. There you go. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's great. That looks great. You look fantastic. Okay. But when you're when you're cleaning the lens, now that's all I can think. When you're cleaning the lens, you got to acknowledge that parts of it are dirty, right? And whatever you clean off, you don't want to smear it back again. So let's say you become aware of a spending habit that was out of alignment.
Mm-hmm.
You can't keep doing the same type of spending and expecting things to change, but you
Right.
can do sort of maybe like a rewards type system, or you can create something where you're not completely depriving yourself as well too, because when you do that whole cold turkey thing, you go back and hit it pretty hard usually. So that's why changing your morning routine can become very helpful, because it does set a whole new precedent for yourself. And you could start small or you could start big. It just kind of depends. But you feel it out, and then you don't beat yourself up when you're not perfect.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's half the battle. I think a lot of times that's where you get very karmic-y with yourself. Is that again you're overthinking, you're beating yourself. Well, I should have known better. I should have did this. I should have did X, Y, and Z. Until you get to the point where you are really truly saying, you know what, just releasing it. Hey, this is the way I'm showing up. That's kind of where I'm going at now, especially like I said, for a person who has a very active, overactive mind. That I had to really like, hey, it's okay. That's where it showed up. It's where it's supposed to be. And really getting to the point, like I said, this really sick and tired of is like I can't keep on spinning like this. I'm getting tired of spinning, doing this over and over again, trying to why did that person do this, or why did I choose to do that? I should have did that better when they did this. I should have did X, Y, and Z back to them. There go another missed moment. I told you you're not thinking fast enough, you're slow enough, and all that stuff until it gets to a point to say, you know what, and now I kind of, when it starts that talk, I kind of, tell myself to say, okay, now let's look at that again. Hey, that's the way you wanted to express yourself at that moment. That's what you said is what you said there. Maybe it wasn't an opportune moment for you to be able to express that certain way. And so it's been helping me to say, oh, yeah, right. Now I kind of see why I did express that way, or why I did decide to do that at that moment. So, again being so harsh to quick to decide to say I'm doing wrong, and I think I'm not the only one that's again what, like I said, we've got to get down to the point that I think we have gotten, and going back on the subject which is union, we have gotten so much as far as saying it's everybody else, but really not really taking ownership to say, hey, it's you. I listened to somebody on a video today was saying we even getting to the point that we blame everything even on the ego, and it was like the ego ain't really the bad guy either. You're good and bad. You're both of them. I think it said Guru who was said that. He's like, you did a good thing and you did a bad thing. It was you that did it. Stop saying, well, my ego pushed me to do it, and that's that. It's like, take ownership. We don't even get to the point that we even take ownership for the stuff that we did and say, okay, well, next time I'll choose to do better, or whatever it is. We've got to really truly get down to the point that it's just me. It's just really truly me. I can't keep on blaming mom. I can't keep on blaming dad. At this point, it's really truly me that's got to. I can't blame it on the twin. If he act right, I'll be able to do X, Y, and Z. It's not really that, and I think where we are now with all these energies is really pushing us to say, okay, no, you pointing, like they used to say, you point that one finger, guess what? Three of them pointing right back at you. It's a confirmation. The three represent these things need to get in alignment with you. And I think we've been ducking and dodging. And I know they're saying about, I think somebody said Saturn or whatever, where it is with these energies and the way they are lined up now. like you said, somebody said it, I can't remember, said that the spirit will back you up if you're trying. But if you're not trying, they're gonna call you on your shit. I'm sorry, they said that. We're gonna call you.
And
You
you gotta, sorry,
go on.
but you do need to, like, and when I say you need to, I need to, right, be willing to feel those things that make me feel uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I need to be willing to embody, even if it's not what I ideally want. Yeah, we do a lot of manifestation and we do a lot of setting intentions and all of this stuff. And yes, feeling that energy and that vibe is great, but avoiding feeling the thing that you need to feel that's actually holding you back is going to block you from even getting to the depths of leveling into the vibration you're wanting to create.
And not even just feeling that feeling, but once we allow ourselves, which is a hard part, to feel it, we then have to kind of have that conversation with ourselves. Okay, I survived. I didn't, lose a limb. I didn't fall over dead. So why was I avoiding this emotion?
Mm-hmm.
What is actually attached to this emotion? Where is this coming from? And this is something like you can do a column journaling with it, and it's like this emotion. Where do I recognize it now in my life? Where do I remember it for the first time in my life? And see how that correlates. And then that way you're dealing with the emotion now. And then you're also dealing with a lot of times the inner child emotion on, where it came from. And you can go as far as, who or how did you come about this emotion? Because some of it is ourselves. And kind of talking about that whole thing, we're our own karmics. One thing I've learned with my daughter who has ADHD, when you say things to children like that, or even adults,
Mm-hmm.
I'm disappointed in you. They do something wrong and you say, I'm disappointed in you. Well, that makes her think I'm a complete and total failure in life and I shouldn't be here.
Mm.
So you have to be very careful and how you say that. And I have to then rephrase it and say, I'm very disappointed in the choices that you made after we had a discussion about XYZ. So a lot of times that inner voice in Divine Sunshine, you and I both have it really bad. Our overthinking heads. But there's a lot of stuff that we've told ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because they did this or because they reacted this way, and we did it as a young child because we didn't understand what was going on.
True.
And so a lot of times we tell ourselves this, and if we were talking earlier before we came on, you repeat something 7 times to yourself. Think about it. 7 times is not a lot. It becomes a permanent synapses in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to go back and rethink about how we're talking to ourselves.
True.
And we have to go back. We're at that point where, like April says, we're looking at these things and, these emotions that we've been trying to avoid somehow, what kind of, I don't know, like smoke and mirrors, or what kind of distraction are we trying to use to stay away from it? And we're to the point now where we're like with Einstein's definition of insanity. We're all doing the same thing, trying to get a different outcome.
Mm-hmm.
You can be the most devout anything, most devout Reiki master, most devout meditator, most devout journaler. But if it's still going to always be everybody else's fault and we don't take ownership for it, then we're doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome.
Well, sorry, I would like to also bring in that, okay, so there can be this stage, because I have kind of not the opposite, but sort of the opposite issue, where I don't blame anyone else. I blame myself for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Which is like another form of kind of denial. I actually have to look at the situation. What are you not wanting to feel? Oh, well, that person didn't treat you very right. Say that person treated you wrong. First of all, you don't treat another human being like that. But, you have to allow yourself and forgive yourself for putting yourself in the situation. But you have to also allow yourself to be angry and upset that that type of situation exists in the first place. People aren't supposed to be abused in that way.
And
People
can we
aren't supposed
just
to be manipulated in that way.
can we just say right now with what you said, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's all right to be angry. It's all right to be mad. It's all right to be hurt and upset. It doesn't matter that you're divine. Those are emotions that it's when we dwell on them, when they encompass our lives. There's where's the problem. The emotion itself has never been a problem. It's how long we let it stay around and we don't deal with it. So go on with what you're saying. I just think that's really important. So
Yeah.
many people think, I'm divine. That's like, oh, I do Reiki and I meditate, so I should never be angry. Really, don't cross me at 7:45 in the morning when I'm trying to get to school, or you will see one very mad Reiki master. It's the human nature. We still have our human side. And as much as we try to be kind, I'm nowhere near as bad as I used to be. But on the right day, on the third Tuesday of every month, don't cross me. No, but we have to understand that just because we are in this relationship or moving into this lifestyle and ascending, that we are still allowed to have these emotions. We're allowed to have a bad day. We're allowed to get pissed off. It's just how we handle it. Okay, sorry.
And we're allowed to actually cry and acknowledge. Like a lot of us carry burdens for our family, or carry burdens that we've had in our lives, and we avoid feelings of shame or guilt and stuff like that. And if you were abused or traumatized, if you were, neglected or abandoned, these are aspects of yourself that you get to say, yes, you're resilient. You survive. Well, you're strong. You survive, but are you resilient? Can you get back through that emotional crisis and then allow yourself to love again? Now, that was a lot compressed in a very little sentence, but going through the emotional process of releasing all of these expectations that you think that you have to compensate for. You don't have to be with perfect makeup, or you don't have to be super skinny, or you don't have to be whatever it is that you're saying is this level that you have to be at in order to be supported and loved by another person. That's what's being kind of expunged. And as Kathy D put it, she said, you can, it makes you more divine to be able to have the full experience of the human within respects to what's going on. And what's going on right now is a whole lot of stuff. So if as within, so without, how much stuff is going on out there? How much information are you now able to get to and access? All of these things are also available within. All of these new spiritual connections, like she was trying to say before she got so rudely it was just like, we were biting our fingernails at the edge of our.
That was all planned,
Cut it off. She's telling us everything.
She's giving away the secrets. They're not ready yet. Make her stop.
Or make them pay for it. Either way.
For $19.95, you too can know the secrets.
Get into our attunement and enlightenment course, and it's okay, right? Because we go through. It's kind of like a washing machine. And you get the clothes out and you dry them and you care for them. But guess what? Somehow they still get dirty again. And then you got to go back through it. Apparently through some weird zone, entering into the new age.
Like something.
That was such a Tron sound. I was like, wow. That's like future past. Anyway, we get soiled again. We get we're reminded of a stain that we had or we thought that held us back, and we get to look at it again. It's like, oh, the stain really isn't gone. I guess I got to wash this again. And
we need to look at it in a different light. Is that stain what we thought it was?
Right.
Do we need to treat it a different way? Oh, I thought this was, red wine, but it's really lipstick. So now I've got to, look at what this stain really is and look at it from a different way. And I think that's really what the universe is asking us to do, is look at it from a different aspect, look at it from a different position, and see how else we can fix these things. Because undoubtedly, if we had gotten it right the first time, it wouldn't have come back up, and that's human nature. I mean, really, not everybody, we get it in chunks, because anybody that has been doing this as long as the three of us have, and if we would have gotten it all in one big chunk, this would have been coming to you from the closest mental health hospital, because we all would have been sitting in a corner rocking back and forth in some kind of little I love you jacket, because we just are, a lot of times, our subconscious and our minds can't take that. That's why we get so many, when we get the downloads with our ears, they either sound like we're underwater, or we have the ringing, and it's almost like a warning, like it's coming, and we're going to release it as you can handle it.
Right. Yeah.
And it's usually like it comes in a way that you've been patterned, right? Oh, you want some chocolate? Well, you're not going to get some chocolate just because you ran in here yelling chocolate, chocolate, chocolate.
That's not how it works. That's why people look at me funny in the grocery store. I run in there and go, chocolate, chocolate, chocolate. And they're like, lady, you got to go. You don't got no money. So.
No money. No, that's not how it goes. But
yeah, but my cute nephew does it. It doesn't work.
No. Cute nephews, yes. Adults, no. But what was she saying? She was saying something, and I got thrown off by the cuteness.
We trim the cuteness.
But we are, you like you said, the effects. It was darn good, and I don't know. Yeah, some of the memory things. It's like, no, I don't want you. That's been happening a lot of fog too. I'm like, okay, now what was I doing? Okay, no headaches. Yeah, some downloads been happening as well too. Yes, April, you back on?
No, I can't even remember either. I was like, you're talking about how much we've forgotten, and I was like, have you forgotten?
Well, we were talking about re-looking at our stains and what they are, and looking at them from a different angle. And then, whoa. All right. Now I had it just a minute ago, and it just went.
Oh my God.
So.
Okay, this is a universal brain part.
It's not about, oh, that's right. It was about not working hard, right? Okay, so the concept is it's not a harder thing. It's not a, if I do this more, if I just dive into myself more, if I just make myself hurt more, then maybe I'll get more sweetness and reward. It's not like that. It's like people, look at the residual income kind of thing. Like Jeff Bezos, okay? One of the richest men in the world. He doesn't really technically have to do too much.
Nope.
To get those billions and trillions of whatever, right? But he set up a system that allowed him to be in the vibration that allowed him to track that in. Now, that also means what? Taking a step back and looking at the big picture and saying getting rid of all the little things. If he was just scrambling, looking at this one little program, or, maybe I can't find a processor, I'm just going to think about the idea, or maybe he just was thinking so much about a negative thing that he did or created, it would have blocked him from being able to have the financial successes that he is having right now. Now, yes, there's a whole system in play and a whole orchestrated design of how it was created, but you're in the design too. You can get on whatever wavelength you want to get on. It's a matter of stepping there, which means acknowledging what's holding you back from staying in there. If you're saying, well, I'm not good enough to be acknowledged, or I feel like people abandon me, or I'm not someone who's very lovable, then of course you're going to have difficulties finding the right relationship or the right person to be with or around, or even trust yourself to know that you picked them. If you're dwelling on the fact that I had a bad relationship, or I had a couple bad relationships, or let's say you had all of the bad relationships, right? But that was still yesterday. What's going on today? What's going on in this moment? It's stepping you closer to what it is you desire, be that the finances, be that the business, be that the relationship or the family life. It takes a series of steps and repeated levels of the mantra, like keeping the mind in order for you to step into the life that you really desire. And it's tricky because a lot of pain stuff, a lot of pain body and emotion body stuff is coming up for people. A lot
Yeah.
of stuff is clearing that's really uncomfortable. And because we're so used to that negative mind cycle of I'm not good enough, I'm not deserving, or maybe it's all my fault, right? It's not. Some of these things are not your fault, and you have to process them another way because sitting in that guilt has brought you what, more of that feeling.
Yep.
Sitting in that shame has brought you what, more avoidance, which makes the freaking thing the size of a mountain when it was a hill, but you kept just digging more stuff on it, avoiding it. Like, if I could just dig myself out of this hole, you turn around, you built a mountain where it was just a little hill. So.
Yeah.
Well, and
I did just real quick because I ain't gonna linger. I did a reading about that, about the new moon, and it did the card that said about submerge, and Source said that they wanted us to submerge ourselves into the emotion so that stuff can bubble up and come out and go to the surface. And so that is really where we're being pushed about all these emotional things. So as things are kind of coming up like that, it is source directed. It's with them that's doing that. Okay, go on, Kathy B. That's all I
well,
want.
and the other thing we have to do when April was talking about look at things new, it came to me that we have to look at gratitude differently too. So many of us are still in, our gratitude when we do, what are three things you're grateful for in the morning, and we're doing it from a place of lack. We're sending gratitude for things we don't want to lose.
Okay.
And so we need to switch up our gratitude to be just an overall grateful to the universe for every experience. And it reminds me of I was raised Catholic, and so we had to go to confession.
Okay.
And so as a teenager, because I went to a very small Catholic church and the priest knew your voice, you didn't want to sit there and list out everything you had done the week before, because we did this weekly.
Okay.
So you did not want to have to sit there and list out everything you did the week before, because we had mass on Saturday evenings and then we all went out Saturday night. So we had a week to build up, some pretty good things. So I would always try to get away with, forgive me, Father, for I've sinned. I've had impure thoughts, actions, and words. Yet no, they wanted detail. But I think now is when we're stepping back and we need to say to the universe, thank you for my experiences because I've learned.
Right.
Thank you for my trials because they've made me stronger. Thank you for bringing things into my life to make me a better person. But you can still, and thank you for my children. Thank you for my beautiful children. Thank you for my home. Thank you for my new home. Thank you for my clean home. Thank you for my bigger home, however we want to do that. But I think we also need to put in there from not a lack point of view for maybe some of those things that maybe if you were caught in traffic, thank you for having me held up in traffic the other day and or late leaving the house the other day so I wasn't caught in that accident that held up the traffic. And thank you for having me sit there and see if I would have pushed and rushed what I would have been in. And I think I've offended them. They both left me. But we have to so I'll just kind of keep on going on my thing with gratitude. We have to look at gratitude for what it is and just grateful for all experiences, because we know we are a spiritual being having a human experience. And that really needs to be the first thing that we're grateful for.
I'm grateful for these two dogs that are tearing up my set. About that.
But they're so cute.
They're cute and fuzzy and lovable. I love them.
I thought I'd said
I don't
something to
know how
offend
we would.
everybody. Everybody
I
just
don't
gets
know
up
how.
and walks away. I'm like,
I had a couple of issues, but they were minor. I'm just thankful that I have that we're not in the studio. Like, you can't just walk up off the set The
And
studio.
and maybe April, you can help with that wording, because I noticed as I said it, something didn't sit right with my soul. It wasn't good with my soul when I said, thank you for, these challenges and things. Maybe, how do we word that to be
It's
able
like
to be
I would call opportunities feels better than challenge,
okay.
and growth
And
feels
that's
better
why I
than
think about growth.
constriction.
Yeah. So thank you for these opportunities for growth.
They have to make me grow.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So yeah, and I think if we start, I mean, it's always good to be grateful for what we have and what we don't want to lose, and that that's human nature. And I think when we tie in with just general gratitude, and don't ever forget, please, to show gratitude to the angels, to Source, to God, to Mother Gaia, you know, to whatever your higher being, the be all, is,
Whew.
because they do so much that we don't realize. And it usually takes some big thing for us to go, whew, you watching out for me today. Thank you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it's not just they were watching out for you today. They watch out for you every day, every hour, every minute, every moment.
So let's take a moment to do a little exercise.
Okay.
Because we might as well practice using this muscle. And Kathy D is our sweet Reiki master. She's been holding and loving and milking in the vibes, right? Because it's a new magical playground that you get to play with when you go Reiki. You never go back. Actually, it starts to incorporate, right? It
Yeah, it does.
expands. It's layered.
I got
It's
a
layered.
t-shirt. I wear it. Okay, go.
So everybody take a deep breath in. I want everyone to actually, okay, we'll do eye closed for a little bit, and then we're going to do eyes open.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
One of each.
I'm thinking about it. I want you to feel in, so we'll close the eyes for the feeling in. We're gonna set up our protection bubble, our energetic bubble, and then another bubble around that bubble, a bubble around that bubble. Each bubble gets further and further until the room is filled. The place, like the next 5 rooms, the houses, our apartment, the what? Who's at my door? Just a moment. I think it's the mail person, but I didn't order anything.
What? Un momento. Did you get my first I sent you?
Go within. Now that you've got all this stuff going on, go
Maybe it's
within.
a
Go
check
deep, deep.
and you have to sign for it.
Right. It's flowers in the check.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
If she screams, I'm gonna die.
Don't do it. It would be cool if it was a check. But anyway, okay, it's not a check. Okay, so we're going within. We're breathing. Bubbles, protection.
For breathing bubbles.
Well, actually, we are. We're breathing these little pieces of consciousness that pop up and in and out of existence. And okay, breathe in. Allow the space around you, the air, to become thick like water, thick like milk, thick like cream. You're in this sort of spiritual embryonic fluid, if you will, floating around like a newborn baby. Well, that doesn't make sense, but I'm sorry about logic. Anyway, you're floating around. You're allowing yourself to become new. You're being birthed to yourself. You're being birthed to your consciousness in this liquid. And you're being given nutrients and love by the universe, by the cosmic mother and father energies, supporting you with everything it is that you need and desire. Now you're starting to feel into your body. Move your fingers, your toes, circle your wrists and your elbows, your ankles and knees. Allow yourself to just start moving. Let your spine undulate. Now feel where it is that you have either physical, emotional, or spiritual resistance. Think about the things that you want to cultivate in your life. Pick one thing, be that financial security, your relationship stability. Maybe it's more healing and clarity from what's going on and missing within your family. And in this space, feel in your body any resistance. Is it a resistance to tears? Are you holding your breath? Is any part of your body tighter than another part of your body? I want you to take a deep breath and allow yourself to expand. Bring in more space for the cosmic embryonic fluid to slip in and out and start to fill in those gaps. So start to move and sway your body. And as you breathe, expand and bringing in that wealth or that abundance. Expand and release that which is holding you from your stability and your wealth. Breathe in the space in your heart that's holding back, that's afraid of loss. And breathe out that old scenario where you were hurt or misguided or not trusting. Breathe in to those lungs and those old and that throat chakra, those old emotions that you want to spill out and tell that parent or guardian or person who didn't protect you. And breathe out all that anger, and that resentment, that grief, and that guilt. Breathe in, allowing more space, and clarity, and loving kindness towards yourself from the universe. And breathe out that holding on, that grip to what you think stability is. And squeeze your hands really tight. Breathe in. Try to get as big as possible. Breathe in and squeeze your fists. Maybe even squeeze your feet. And breathe in and fill it from the belly all the way up to the chest, the upper back. And breathe out. Relax the hands, relax the feet. Wiggle the fingers and toes. Allow the universe and the embryonic support that fully nurturing universe and earth want to bring to you into the cosmic moment of your now. Open your eyes and start to allow yourself in this thick space that you've created, this thick energy. Allow it to just come in like waves. Envision in your third eye the waves of energy bringing that love to you. Waves of cash, money, contracts, whatever it is you desire. Phone calls, emails, likes on your Instagram. Just call in those things that are going to help you connect with that vibration that you seek. Call in more happy partners, call in beautiful families, call in stable homes, a new vehicle. What is it you desire? Maybe it's more happy kids just on earth in general. And they're all just coming in happy and supported. And we can do this together. Take a deep breath in, kind of start to tap your body, move it around. Feel into yourself. Allow that to sit in. Let's everybody just give ourselves a big hug. I feel so comforted. I feel so supported. Let out a sigh if you're holding anything back. And here we are, attracting everything that we need and desire, everything we know we're worth, no matter what we've done in the past. Now we're here accepting beauty, not only in our now, but in our future. Okay. What? I don't think she meant to do that.
My baby.
She's getting her beautiful future now, and I'm out. That was good.
That's beautiful. That's
I
it
think
for
she's
me.
making a book.
She like we in the show right here, you know.
I'm
I'm
gonna make a book.
here. And no, I had something to say and I forgot, and the universe didn't want me to say it.
That's so funny. I was like, she's off living her best life. Oh, goodness, that one.
But
And
that's
she,
I manifested. I'm out of here.
right.
Oh, I remember now. When you are in those moments of really missing, and it really doesn't matter. I mean, it can be your twin, of course. It can be a family member. You know, I was 28 when I lost my mom, and you know what? There are just times that a mom's hug or a dad's hug. There's just something about it. And we have to remember that our ancestors are part of our DNA and they're part of us and our soul family and our twin, you know, as, you know, they are us and we are them and all of that. But when you need that, you just close your eyes and when you rub your arms and just kind of squeeze in, you can feel them. And it's that comfort. And I think so many times we get into as a you know just a culture and as human beings we go to other things for that nurturing that we miss so much, that's always with us. And so sometimes I think instead of going out to find someone or something to replace what we're missing, we just need to take that time and literally hug ourselves. And you know, rub your arms, you know, rub your, you know, if that's like my mom always would do that, like that little double pat and then a squeeze. And so when I'm really missing my mom, I do the rub and the double pat and the squeeze. And you know what? It's not exactly the same, but you know, when you really need that, it's there. And we've got to connect to, we can't leave our ancestors out. There's so much knowledge there. And things that have been passed on through generations. Very rarely did we get the bad stories. Did we get the struggles? Did we get the failures? We always got the, you know, the happily ever after. Or, well, they tried it, but it didn't work, but they moved on. And there's so much of these things that we're clearing that we need to tap into those emotions with our ancestors and allow for them to release it as well. Because it's just going to keep playing a part in our lives and our offspring's lives until we clear that. And we've really got to take that time. I think they kind of get skipped over. You know, people go and as we should, you know, we always go to source, you know, powers that be, whatever you, God, however you call it. But we skip over some of the people that know us the most intimately, that have walked the paths we walk, and that's our ancestors, and they have a lot of knowledge to give us if we'll just listen.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement about that. Especially in these times, I think the veil, they already say it was thinning, so it's really easier for
It's
you to really
really thin right
tap
now.
tap into them for answers. I've even said on the podcast, you are the answers that your ancestors seek. And
Mhm.
so a lot of times, you know, if you go back and you tap into what's going on with you, some of that stuff will be traced back to your ancestors too as well, and how you are there. Everything, like the quote was said this morning, about everything in life is about patterns. Some of this stuff that you're doing, again, you're not the first one on the rodeo. They've done this. Other ancestors before, prior to, have done the same thing, and you're here to kind of break that. And you know, like you said, use your ancestors. Those are the ones that are least called. They say least called to bat. That's what they're saying. It's like they're literally showing me a baseball, and they're sitting on the bench, and they like, "Mhm, she ain't called me. I can't do anything." And so
Mhm.
that's something that you have to we think about them, the angels, like you said. But you know, a lot of times, hey, hey, hey. a lot of times we have to make sure that we call them in too, because again, it'd be no us if it wasn't them. We stand
Mm-hmm.
on Oprah Winfrey say we stand on their shoulders, the foundations, and from that point on, greater things they did is greater things we're supposed to do as well. And so we have to remember that too as well. They had something that came to be about the soul family and how that came about too, as far as like with the ancestors and how us coming together with the twins as well, how we're to again empower together to change the whole scope of things too, between us as us coming together. If that is your thing of choice, if that's what you want, is the union and the physical union with your twin. It's a bigger scope as to why also family dynamics of us coming
Mm-hmm.
too as well. They brought that to me too.
Well, and we also have to remember that they're not in their 3D, I guess mindset maybe is the best way to
Yeah,
put it.
so
They're
hard
in
for
their 5D. So if, say, um, my mom, we'll pick on my mom. I'll probably get thumped in the head for this, but she was a worrier, and she was a bit on the negative side.
mm-hmm.
She, always tried to see the glasses half full, but unfortunately, she always saw it wasn't to the rim.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And so I was always leery at first to call her in because all I could think was, I don't need her negativity right now. I've fought all my life against that negativity. I don't want that negativity in. And when I finally, and this has just been about a month ago that I finally called her in, fully in, and said, I need you and I need your answers. Um, did she come in and she didn't have the doom and gloom. She didn't have the negativity because she had the clear vision to see what she had gone through and why she had gone through it. Like those questions had been answered for her on the other side. And so we have to realize that they have more answers than they did when they were here. I guess is the best way to put it. Things are clearer to them on why things had to happen like they did.
That's interesting. You said I had a conversation with mom about that, and I was like, the personality that you believe of this person is not going to be the same thing. It comes with more knowledge, more place of, you return back to love. So
Mm-hmm.
you still remember the things of what you were as the personality of you as that soul and whatever, Bertina, whatever. But at the same time, you have more to your knowledge base or to your library of being able to understand and be more empathetic and seeing where that
Mm-hmm.
other person is coming from. More so when we're human, we have more tunnel vision. Like every now and then we could jump in and do the empathy thing. I could tap in and see what Kathy's feeling right now, April's feeling right now. But it's just like when you return back to source, you feel everything and you can decipher and feel and distinguish the energies as to why, just in a nanosecond, almost like the Matrix. Like you said, I can do Sinjo now, I can do Taekwondo, all of that stuff. It's like, oh wow, okay, now I know where she came from. Oh, now I see her perspective. Now I see why she did what she did. Oh wow. So you can bring in all of that knowledge base of understanding that person and come from a more of a viewpoint of love, less of the humanness. And I think that's a lot of times when you talk to people, it's like, I'm expecting to show up like the grandma who was the nag. I don't want to talk to grandma that was the nagging one that was always correcting me.
Mm-hmm.
And so now when they do, they come from a whole different perspective and we forget that they have been changed. They return back to source and love.
And that's a neat thing to journal on and to meditate on, is if you have access to, genealogy and family lineage and that kind of stuff. And my grandmother had done that for our family. Um, Call in some of your ancestors that you didn't get a chance to meet.
Right.
I was one of those that I only knew my grandparents. I never knew great grandparents or great great grandparents. Some people are very blessed and know long lineage like that. I didn't have it. So, I have called in, and it's something I did very early on in this journey. And that was, I went back 3 generations and wrote letters to them
Mm-hmm.
And, saying, I'm seeing where, these patterns are coming from as they were being shown,
Mm-hmm.
and how the patterns follow. And so, go and meditate, and even, especially if you don't know a lot about them, and journal it and leave it open. Do some of that open conscious journaling, and let them speak through you. The wealth of knowledge you're going to get, and don't doubt it. When you're in that, because you're in a meditative state, you're relaxed, and you just ask for it to be the higher good, to be truth, and to be, if it feels like you're having to force what you're writing, don't write it.
Don't do it. That's what I was about to say. Don't do it.
Just let it flow. And spelling doesn't count. You're not being graded. Nobody else is reading it, so no punctuation's needed. If you write cursive and you fill up 10 lines and those letters did not break, you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that'll happen when they have a lot to say, or you have this is the other thing. It's funny. If you have an ancestor that talks very fast, that's the way you'll write. If they were slow and they said lots of pauses, and that's how you'll write. So there's sometimes it's like, all right, come on, speed it up. But we'll see that. So, but definitely, yeah, if they're ancestors you've only heard little bits about, either write a letter and ask them. Always ask them to come in. Always ask them to help you. And they could be helping someone else. We don't know what's going on, so you always want their permission. You don't want to just call them in. That's kind of like a little kid. Every time you walk out of the room, mom, 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 instead of would you help me? Do you mind when you have a moment? Kind of. So we want to ask, even though they're waiting, like you said, they're like the angels. They're just kind of sitting there, like, all right, put me in, coach. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Right.
You still. It's always nice to be asked.
Yeah, and it is. That's interesting because I did my dad's DNA, the ancestral thing, and ancestry thing. I said right. And so a lot of times when I went through that and I was really researching, I hit a stone wall with my mom, but dad's went all the way to Scotland and admirals and colonels and all everybody on fleets of ships. And I was like, I said, okay, you know what? I come from stock of leaders. So I know how to navigate these waters. I know how to navigate these waters means emotion. So let's take it from that point on and draw from that. And it was interesting, like even in this new position that I am at work, I like, okay, you draw from them, from your ancestors. They knew how to navigate. That was choppy water to be back there in the days with the ships and all that stuff. So you draw from that. You bring that forth. You call that forth from your ancestors as well. And I was like, oh, and then you kind of understand why you've been led in some kind of situations or circumstances now again, which is again, like I said, because your ancestors to come back to it, do it greater, to do it better, something maybe they didn't do right. Whatever. So on my mom's side, they got preachers, so I can see why I kind of like to talk about anything that's spiritual. So again, to bring that forth and to stand on that. So it's been like you said, the ancestors, this thing is wild. I like the idea of you saying you bring it writing a letter. I didn't think about that. I just talk to people because it's always easy for me to flip over to the other side and just talk. They're like, okay, you're here. Yeah. So, I don't think about like knock, knock, I'm asking permission. I just bust on. Like, okay, she's free from the other side again. So, but that is true. I mean, you can ask that. It depends on, your relationship too as well. Then you can ask that.
Mm-hmm.
Like me, I don't. I just bust in. They're like, we used to you. You don't ask.
Well, and the other neat thing is this is something I found absolutely fascinating, was as I would reach out to these ancestors and write the letters, and then I was kind of guided to books of where my grandmother had our genealogy. And as I would go back through the genealogy, one of the most fascinating things I found was I guess it would be called a creek. It's not a full-fledged river, but it's like a tributary off of the river, like one of the little fingerling rivers, where my divine masculine lives. The main part of the river, my family built one of the first homesteads on. So the water that flows behind his home flowed past my family's original homestead. So it's fascinating when you really get into this and you let the spirit guide you and open your eyes to these things and see how. And there's such a connection because when I walk out there and I just stand and I look in that water, and it's fascinating. One, because it's so different than Florida. There are beaver dams and things like that, and my girls are fascinated. But to think that water, my family,
Mhm.
and it's almost overwhelming because at that point in that time, it's like my family washed clothes are in that water
Mhm.
that's flowing. Those rocks that are on the bottom of that creek, have had that energy of my family, even though I didn't even know it. And it's quite fascinating. So I mean, on even if you're not a history buff or like stuff like that, the things we can learn when we trust our intuition and know that what we're receiving is truth. And always ask to make it plain, make it clear, make it true.
Mhm. Mhm.
And when you believe when you state those words that they will, that's exactly what you're going to get.
Yep. All right. I think on that, that's a good note to put a pin in it. Very nicely done. All right, then, community tab. Anything that you want to say that you're doing new in your business, you can chime in. I'm not gonna call people on the spot, but if anything you want to add that you're changing or doing anything, let us know at this point as we're wrapping it up. Okay, nothing on there. Okay, well, I am revamping my Ashanti Wellness Center to make it more fine tuned to help people to find the patterns in their lives. So I'm doing patterns for everything. For if it's patterns in relationships, we can do that through hypnosis. It's just patterns about your sex life is not doing right. We can do it through hypnosis and find the patterns to that.
Can we find a
If
partner too? Wait a minute.
uh, your childhood. And I was like, wait a second. I had listened to another person and I went and I visited their site. And I was like, she's right. You can program yourself to do anything underneath hypnosis to find the answers through your higher self and your
Mm-hmm.
subconscious. So I was like, okay, so I'm gonna go in there and I went in there and I revamped things in there. So to really truly help people to find. So that's one thing. And the other thing, like I said, Spirit and already told me that stuff. I won't be able to settle down and get things cleared into November. So I'm not even going to even start on that. I'm gonna start on it, but it's not gonna be able to reveal until then. So that's what I have been doing. Just going in and revamping, bringing in new energies. That's the Aries, which is about initiation. So if there's any programs, anything that you're trying to do, Spirit said that this is the time for us to now to kind of like work on that. Although you're working on yourself, but remember to do that as well for that one. So that's pretty much what's going on my end. All right, then. So let's just get us on out of here since there's no other community things. So let's go on, Kathy D. Get us on out of here.
Well, make sure that you empty all the virtual sand out of your virtual shoes and socks. Pick up your own sand bucket and shovel. Make sure that you throw away your virtual juice boxes and clean up the area around the sandbox. And wishing you your best life ever.
All right, then. And April, wait.
Stay blessed, stay golden, and remember you were made for this golden life.
All right, then, and as always, stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay ascending. Namaste, namago. And don't forget to click, like, share, and subscribe to this channel so more people can see about all the great works that we're doing over here on the playground experience. All right, until next time, guys, we'll see you at the playground. All right, then. Ciao,